What's up, guys? This is Derek from moreplatesmoredates.com. Today we're going to be talking about how to know if you should bulk or cut. I'm going to break this down for you why and kind of explain in what situations you should and shouldn't bulk. So bulking when you're already too fat will decrease your insulin sensitivity, which in turn will negatively affect muscle growth. The fatter you are, the more prone your body is to packing on and holding even more fat when you gain weight. And this is something I learned when I was learning about nutrition and stuff like that. I don't know how much truth there is to it, but supposedly bulking up too much will lead to ectopic fat storage. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Ectopic, which is essentially when you've consumed so many excess calories that your body isn't just storing fat as adipose tissue, but it is also storing fat in your muscles, which obviously leads to a smoother looking muscle and can wreck your look completely. Also, gaining fat in excessive amounts and then having to lose it all afterwards can lead to metabolic damage. And when I say metabolic damage, I don't literally mean your metabolism is like permanently damaged. I mean, it's gonna be sluggish or slowed down by having to diet a very prolonged period of time to get all that extra fat off. If you're gaining more muscle than fat pound for pound as the scale goes up, this is kind of another rule I have. And when you hit this stage, you're likely too fat already, and continuing once you get to this point is a recipe for disaster. So the old school mentality, when I was growing up in my teens, I was basically led down the school of thought that encouraged excessive eating. I was convinced that because I was only 140 pounds in a bone rack that I was a hard gainer, when the reality was I was just under eating and not lifting weights. So adopting the old school mentality for getting huge fast, I just ate like my life depended on it. I ate everything in sight. I didn't just eat. I literally treated each and every day like it was an eating contest, where the more food I could consume without puking would equate to more muscle growth. And there was actually a few times I did puke, and then I'd go eat again because I was afraid I'd lose muscle because I just puked up my meal. So anyways, I started growing really fast, and I literally thought to myself, damn, if I can keep up this rate, I'll be 300 in no time. So fast forward, I actually find it hilarious, like thinking about my mentality back then. Anyway, fast forward 4 months and I'm 190 pounds, so I started at 140. But I had probably only gained like 10 to 20 pounds of muscle of that 50 pounds. So I gained like 30 pounds of like water and pure fat. So my face looked like shit, and I had a bit of a gut even. So I went from being a bone rack hard gainer, going from skin and bones, to having a gut in 4 months. And that's not hard to do if you're eating literally everything. So I was forced to undertake an aggressive cut and strip off about 30 pounds to get back to a level where I could actually start growing properly again. And it's pretty much just spinning your wheels. I didn't realize how terrible my strategy was at the time because I just started, but most guys think the heavier they are, the better, and they get this tunnel vision on their scale weight, completely disregarding what they actually look like in the mirror. Like, I literally had people telling me, you look like shit, but I didn't care because I thought I was huge. So they were right and I was wrong. Basically, once you hit a certain body fat percentage, and I think that level is around 12%, your body starts to become environmentally no longer conducive to productive muscle building. When I say that, I mean that when you bulk up and your body fat level increases, your insulin sensitivity will decrease. So insulin is what is responsible for shuttling nutrients to the muscle for recovery, and it has a direct and major impact on how both your muscle and fat cells utilize amino acids and glucose. When your insulin sensitivity is high, muscle cells will readily absorb glucose and amino acids when insulin signals them to open. But when you have a high level of body fat accrued on your physique, your natural levels of insulin are so much higher that it can have a severe desensitizing effect on muscle cells to insulin's nutrient shuttling effects. So compounding the issue, with diminished insulin sensitivity, your body will become more and more prone to convert more of the excess calories you intake as body fat. And as the muscle cells are no longer absorbing and utilizing the consumed glucose and amino acids efficiently, you're basically just accelerating the fat loss, the fat storage process. And once you get past a certain body fat percentage, it just gets worse and worse the fatter you are. So not only is this unhealthy, because I don't think I need to elaborate on how being fat can lead to cardiovascular issues and a myriad of other issues, it can lead to the creation of new fat cells that make it even harder to diet down once bulking ends. So when you're doing a dirty bulk, as people call it, at first, all the excess calories which are converted to glucose get used by the muscle and fat cells for energy usage and storage. And this is why your pumps and muscle fullness are so great the first couple of weeks of hardcore bulking. If you still do it like this, like you'll notice, like if you're really lean, the first couple of weeks of your bulk, you look insane because you're just like, your body fat hasn't started accumulating yet because you're still just refilling your glycogen stores essentially. So you're just super full, but you're still lean. So you just look insane. But when your glucose levels are constantly high, you'll start to overspill once your glycogen stores are full, which doesn't take a lot to do. And this is part of the reason why bodybuilders post-competition end up gaining like 30 to 40 pounds in a month after their show. So the overspilling process is essentially calories that you don't need being stored as fat. Your muscles only need a certain amount of glucose to recover. And when you exceed the amount necessary for muscular recovery and growth, you've entered into like the dangerous territory of all excess calories being converted right into stored body fat. So in addition, if you're already too fat and you bulk up further than that, you're just making the process you need to complete to diet down more torturous than it needs to be. So if you let yourself get really fat, you're just gonna have to kill yourself to diet down, and it sucks. So, and if you have to do hardcore cutting diet with an insane amount of cardio and a severe deficit of calories to get lean again, you're just gonna damage your metabolism by slowing it down far more than it should be and making yourself insanely prone to fat storage for once you want to try bulking up again, or even eating at like a normal, sane maintenance level of calories, because you'll have dieted at like, who knows? I've heard of guys dieting, like men dieting on like 1,200 to 1,500 calories. And these are like full-grown men eating numbers that women should be eating. And to me, it's crazy that guys let their metabolism get to this point where they have to undereat so much to lose weight. Like it should never get to that point in the first place. So how do you know for sure if you're too fat to bulk or to continue bulking? So the decision comes down to knowing your body essentially, using the mirror as a reference point instead of the scale, and assessing your overall results. So you need a calorie surplus to build muscle. There's obviously no doubt about that, and gaining weight with a complete absence of some extra body fat is impossible. But the key is to minimize this. And once you get to a point where you're too fat, you can diet down again in a quick and very easy way, as you won't let yourself get to a point where your metabolism is sluggish and your body fat is out of control. So think of it this way. If you're bulking and for every 5 pounds you gain, only one of them is muscle, does it make logical sense to continue bulking? Not really. So you'll probably just lose that muscle when you have to diet down to get rid of that 4 pounds of fluff. So I never suggest letting yourself bulk up past like 12 to 13% body fat, ideally. Like, it's okay to not have razor sharp abs year round. That would be unrealistic, and you're gonna have to come to terms with that to an extent. But if you notice that your abs have literally almost disappeared entirely, you're probably passing the 12% barrier and need to do a mini cut back down into the single digit body fat percentage level, ideally. And once you start getting too fat and losing insulin sensitivity, you will not only start looking really soft with a lot less definition, but you'll notice your pumps in the gym aren't nearly as good as they used to be. And not being able to get a good pump and a calorie surplus with tons of carbs is usually a surefire way to tell either that your diet just sucks, or your body isn't efficiently using the nutrients you're consuming anymore and your insulin sensitivity is going in the toilet. So bulk up, as a general rule of thumb, I do like bulk up to 12 to 13% max, mini diet back into the single digits, rinse and repeat. So this way you can keep like your results maximized, and it actually allows you to look good year round and you stay lean and tight all the time. So take it from me, I've done both approaches more times than I can count, and staying lean is the way to go. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please like, subscribe, comment, check out my blog, moreplatesmoredates.com. This video is also a written article. That's going to be linked in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.